I was walking to the building when a hand grabbed the arm of my blazer, pinching my flesh. I let out a quick scream, which was stupid. One of the first things you learn is to hide your pain, because pain is what they love, and it works like a blood trail in the water. But it was the surprise, not really the pain. And how can you guard against being surprised? Anyway, it was answered by the hyena laughs of Miller and Bates. Roth loomed behind them, his black eyes glittering in the shadows. Bates, who'd grabbed me, pushed me towards his master. At the same time wrenching and twisting at the soft underflesh of my arm. "Paw," said Roth. His voice was deep and pretended hurt. "You've been avoiding me." He stepped forward, opening his arms like a priest. "I thought we were mates. I thought we were going to spend some time together. I thought we'd be down in the park throwing a frisbee to each other, swapping jokes and having a laugh." And I almost did laugh at the thought of Roth with a frisbee. It was like imagining Genghis Khan with a yo-yo. "He's got his new friends now," said Miller, giggling. "He's all over them freaks. He must fancy one of 'em." "Which one do you reckon?" said Bates, joining in. "The lanky one? Or the, what's his name, the chief bummer?" "Shut up." That made them all laugh, even Roth, who usually saved it for leap years. "Oh," said Miller. "Look at her, I think we've got it." "Nah, look, let's not get too nasty," Roth said, putting his arm around me in that way of his, heavy and threatening. "This is a time we all have to stick together. You know why, don't you? The fight." "The fight," he says. "The fight. You make it sound like 2-year-7 bitches having a scratch behind the bike sheds. This isn't a fight. This is war. It's us against them. And do you know who they are, eh?" I nodded. "You mean the Temple Moore kids. The evil kids who didn't go to our school. The kids who lived just up the road. Barbarians. That's it. You're a clever kid, aren't you?" "Eh? Yeah. You've listened to your history. You know about the Spartans, don't you?" Roth's eyes weren't on me now, but were focused somewhere else, thousands of years ago. Many miles away. "You know about how they stood together, shield to shield, while the Persians splashed against them like waves on a rock." That was the thing about Roth. He could say things like that, things you'd never think were in him. Maybe if things had been different for him, if he'd been brought up somewhere else, with a different mom and dad, he'd have achieved something, done something amazing. That's us, Spartans, the Templars of the barbarians. The way white men beat barbarians by sticking together. Keeping that shield wall tight, you get me? I nodded. There wasn't much else I could do. But I also looked quickly at Miller, a black kid, not a white man. I thought I saw something there, something beneath the cowed, craven look of his. Roth caught my glance, but he couldn't have seen Miller's expression. "You don't worry about him," he said, and I wasn't sure who he was speaking to. Maybe it was himself. "Miller's all right. Miller's one of us. He's civilized, yeah? Yeah." And Miller didn't say anything for a moment, and then he grunted, which I suppose meant yes. And then Roth focused on me again. "You still got it, yeah?" Of course I knew what he meant. "Yes." "Got it here?" I shook my head. "It was in my secret hiding place." "Sensible." "I knew you had brains. Some thick kid would have carried it around like a mobile. Not you. Feels good though, doesn't it? Having it, touching it." I thought about the knife. I felt it invisible in my hand. "It feels good, yes." Bates made a hissing noise. A sigh, I think. "Tomorrow. You'll bring it tomorrow." I wanted to say no, to say I didn't want anything to do with this stupid fight. The best I could manage was to say nothing. "Reckon he's chicken," said Bates. "Nah, not my mate, Paul. He's a good lad." Ross squeezed me again with his big arm. "And when he hears what they're saying, well, then he'll be up for it. won't you, eh? I didn't get it for a second. What do you mean? What did they say? It's all right. We know there's nothing in it. We know they're a bunch of lying savages, monkeys, apes. Don't we, eh? What did they say? Forget it. Tell me. They said you liked it when they made you kiss the dog. They said it was the kind of thing you liked. They said stuff like that. And then he told me other things, the kind of things that had been written on the wall about him. Now the point is, he said, his voice low and reasonable, like we were talking about what was on the telly tonight. That kind of thing gets around. When it gets around, it becomes true. As good as true, I mean. I'm saying that no one can tell the difference between the lie and the truth. Then you know what? There isn't a difference, because truth is only what people think it is. So what you need to do is put any thoughts like that out of people's heads. You get stuck in tomorrow, and what are people gonna say then? Not that you're a dog snogger. They're gonna say you're a hero. They'll remember you for a long time. I felt sick. I didn't believe that lies and the truth were the same underneath, I mean. But Roth was right, in that the truth can sometimes protect you against the lie. That the lie is sometimes stronger than the truth. But feeling sick isn't the same as wanting to fight. I don't care what people say about me. Roth's face changed slowly. He'd been working up to it now, making the muscles move into the human shapes that others had. But now it was slack and empty, and I knew that I was in terrible trouble. He doesn't care about what people say about him, he said, his voice like that of a dead man, a spirit calling from beyond the tomb. And then action. I was against the wall, my face crushed in his hands. But what about his dad, eh? Yeah, his dad. I could feel his breath on my face. It had no odor, nothing. Nothing at all. I've heard how he was always going on about what a tough guy he was at school. Oh, yeah. How he was the hero at the big fight at Templemore all those years ago. Well, you know what? I heard different. I heard that he shat himself. I heard he was a coward. You a coward too? Eh? Verdeman? Another good story to put around that one, eh? Your dad shitting himself. And I fought against the hand on my face, the weight of Roth pushing me against the wall. Fought as hard as I could, but I was like some soft creature writhing under the tracks of a tank. And Roth laughed. That's a bit more like it, he said. Bit of fight in you, eh? That's good, that's really good. Doesn't matter so much if your dad was chicken shit. You can put that right. You can be the one with the guts in your family. That's it, eh? Yeah. And then he put his hand inside my blazer and began to feel me. He moved his hand down to my trousers and then up again. And he said, You sure you haven't got it? My little girl? My baby? I told you no, it's not here, I said, squirming under his grip. Yeah, well, that's good. Good. But I told you what a friend that knife could be to you. And you haven't got many, have you? He's got them weirdos, said Bates. They're not really your friends, you know, Paul. They don't care about you. You're not one of them. When push comes to shove, they won't watch your back. They'll leave you in the shit. I should have defended them, but it was easier to say nothing. But tomorrow, you'll bring it. The knife. Yeah, the knife. Bring it. Use it. Make everything right. I nodded my head, but in my heart, I said no.